Hello, thanks for tuning in. I'm Lillian. So I'm with Sherene Bishmaya. We're extra close to each other today because Harper wants to be in the shot, so we're all tight in the shot together. So we're just one big happy family today. We're making this video today to talk about the upcoming full moon in Capricorn. It's on July 19th. There's also a grand water trine happening at the same time. This is kind of like a big one in terms of I would say emotionally, things that might be coming up. It might feel a little bit more intense on the emotional tip. So stay tuned and listen up for more because we'll dig a little deeper into it.
Yeah, and Capricorn moons are not so keen on the emotional realm. So this is going to be an interesting one because Capricorn moons of all moons are not comfortable in the emotional realm. But we don't have a choice because we have a grand water trine,
right?
Which is between Mars and Scorpio, which is finished. Mars is finishing up his run in Scorpio, which has been a very intense emotional cleanup, and he's making a trine with Chiron and Pisces, which is also a lot of really deep abandonment.
I was going to say, I'm so much trauma.
Oh my God, trauma! It's totally our abandonment wounds and our longing for whatever we don't have and what we want and what we don't, what's not there. Whatever, we're always the absence of something.
Yeah.
And then what closes out this trine is the Sun in Cancer, which is all about our memories and our attachments and our deepest emotional cravings and loss and need for nurturing.
Yeah.
So all of that, when you have a trine, a grand water trine, it's these emotions are just flowing. So with water trines, it's sometimes you can just spiral because water goes toward the downward spiral.
Right.
So we can can be a little bit of a negative spiral because Capricorn moon anyway tends toward the negative because it's ruled by Saturn, and there's a tendency to really highlight our fears, our inner demons. Guilt, fear, and shame are the three biggest Capricorn demons.
Fun.
But if we know ahead of time, we can be okay, this is the time to really confront that, and we don't have to be slaves to this if we know it's coming. So I want to also show visually the archetype behind this full moon, which is the Devil card in the tarot is linked to Capricorn because it has a lot to do with what we feel in bondage to. The two figures in the card underneath the Devil could take off the chains. They wear them freely around their neck. They're choosing to wear them. So we may feel like we're trapped or we're a victim or we're in this bondage and it could be an addiction or an attachment or our desire for more material this or material that. But why are we a slave to that? And why don't we just remove the chains? It's up to us. We're giving this thing power. It's anything we give power to and we feel we can't move because that thing owns us. If something owns us, whether it's a bad habit or addiction, like I said, or even a bad relationship or a job or a boss or some kind of material attachment, if it's running you, that's the negative side of this Capricorn full moon, and it's going to be revealed right now, where you're not free.
Yes, so I always think of the Devil card also as shackles, right? Or the depiction of that. It's and a lot of time it's she was saying you can take them off. So exploring that. So I feel what's the work that's coming up for us around this full moon? Obviously, we're going to be exploring those things that we might be, shaping ourselves shackled to, but also as far as the fear, shame,
and guilt, the demon work, inner demons, and really releasing fear. I think that acronym for fear, false evidence appearing real, is really good to keep in mind during this time because all your fears may get conjured during this time. And it's up to you to go deeper into the love and not buy into the fear and the sense of wherever the negative mind is taking you into the downward spiral. We need to work extra hard at having what my teacher Alma says, the mind should be like a remote control. You should be able to stop certain thoughts. We should have that level of control over our mind and thoughts, which is easier said than done. Yeah. We need a lot of meditation and intention, to get out of the negative thought patterns because they're going to be really strong right now because emotions are going to kind of rule, and yet we're going to be uncomfortable with the emotions because it's a Capricorn full moon. We're going to be I don't want to feel this. I want to freeze it like Saturn and do something practical. But maybe the fears and the shame and the guilt is just creeping up on you. So you have to do something to release it. Maybe some journaling.
So it sounds and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like there might be a tendency to avoid a lot of feelings around this full moon.
There can be a lot of denial, repression. Saturn's very famous for, if you think of the rings, trying to suppress or repress certain feelings, yes. So it could show up as anxiety, Saturn is also very linked with, and Capricorn is also, as the Devil archetype, linked to panic, panic attacks. So if you're under a lot of anxiety or panic attacks during this full moon, you can be sure that it's because you're not letting yourself feel something, and you have to get in touch with your feelings during this full moon with a grand water trine. Feel it, but don't buy into it. Like, feel into it, release it. Don't make it into a blanket statement,
right?
You know, or like, don't make decisions based on your feelings, but feel your feelings.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I feel like that's a good segue into talking about homework, right? Like, what are the action steps that we do for this? So, feel it.
Burn your fears. Like, really, like, get really clear on what fears are running you, what attachments are running you. Like, think of what your shackles are. Mm-hmm. Really get clear on that. And I think if you can name it, if you can name what your demons are, what your shackles are, what you're in bondage to, you don't have to be enslaved to that anymore. Use this moon to, like, really relinquish the chains that bind you.
Yeah. There's this thing like name it to tame it.
Yeah, I like that.
So cool, awesome. So looks like there might be a lot of work coming up for y'all. So always bring it back in. Really pay attention to, you know, like anxieties, fears, shame. If any like old stuff, like you know, if you see even like bad habits and addictions.
It can be family stuff too, because it's Cancer, Capricorn, so it's mother-father complexes getting triggered too.
Yeah. So I feel like with this full moon, we highly advise you to, you know, look inward and as always, continue to do the work.